Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
So here's a question. Do green and alternative energy cars make people drive more to the point where it outweighs the benefits? I think the answer is no, but there are a lot of new reports which are exploring that possibility. There's a couple of reports from Sweden, and in Sweden, purchases of these fuel-efficient cars are on the rise, but apparently emissions are on the rise as well. So some made the connection that, well, it must mean that Swedes are just driving more because they have a car that they know wastes less gas, therefore creating more emissions. This is an example of what is called by many the Jouvens Paradox, which David Owen recently wrote about in The New Yorker. You make something more efficient, and therefore more people use it, negating the effect of increased efficiency. What do you think about that part? Does that seem to you as if it would be reasonable? Would somebody really drive more just because their car wastes less gas?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you are. I've been to Sweden. The trains are used there. They're popular. I think in a situation where you have access to trains, yes, this might happen. But in our area, I'm not going to drive any more or less, regardless of what kind of car I have.
Well, the Rocky Mountain Institute's Amory Lovins wrote a rebuttal to the piece, and he points out that this preposition from David Owen, this supposition, is not accounting for income growth in Sweden over the past century. Overwhelmingly, it is increased wealth, not past energy savings, that enables people to buy cheap, inefficient air conditioners. It's not hard to extend this to cars. As people get richer, they buy more cars and they drive them more places, thus using more fuel and creating emissions. Drivers generally don't know their vehicle's fuel economy, but if they did see it improve, they wouldn't balance that out by trying to find more time in the vehicle. I agree 100%. And I mean, now I have a hybrid. I have a hybrid Civic, a Honda Civic, and it gets better gas mileage than my previous two cars. I don't drive more. I don't look for reasons to drive. The only thing I could maybe think of would be on a trip that I'm going on with people who also own cars. I might be more likely to suggest my car, knowing it gets better gas mileage.
Right.
But that's not an overall increase. I mean, we would have all been taking that trip together in someone's car no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to imagine people seeking out places to drive because they get marginally better gas mileage.
No, I don't think that would happen. But imagine if you didn't have a car and you did take a train normally.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these cars were available that were cheaper.
That's the thing. These cars aren't cheaper.
Well, cheaper to cost-wise. I mean, gas-wise,
right.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
And you thought, oh, well, I could save a lot of money on gas. Maybe this will even out. I don't know.
I'd still need the money to buy the car.
You would.
If I didn't have it, for the same type of vehicle, typically one that is hybrid or electric, there's a premium for that. Mm-hmm. The other side of this is that Simon Mui, who's a scientist who studies electric cars at the NRDC, he says attributing increased driving to gains in fuel efficiency is mind-boggling. Because of population increase, rising incomes, sprawl, and increased car ownership rates, vehicle miles traveled has gone up both in the U.S. and abroad. This has happened even when fuel economy was flat or worsening because of SUVs. That makes sense to me. It is more of a lifestyle thing if people are driving more than because your car is more fuel efficient.
Definitely.
And is there the backlash effect, which is increased car use cancels out efficiency savings, has never been documented. Never. And so then the question is back to the beginning. Why have emissions gone up in Sweden? One expert says that it's in spite of green vehicles, not because of them. Trucks instead of passenger cars are causing the bulk of new emissions because goods are now being trucked instead of being transported by rail. So it seems there is an explanation there.
I guess so.